Essence Fest is whack and washed now because it's run by a bunch of Africans. There is no Black American culture that is reflected in Essence Fest anymore. Essence's CEO is an African. The chief, I don't know, one of their chief top level executives and officers is an African. The person that owns Essence Ventures is an African. So what used to be a celebration of Black American culture, the culture that is ours, the culture that we built from the ground up, the culture that Black Americans influenced the world through, has now been co-opted by some African diaspora, Pan-African, whatever, and a lot of Black people are just not feeling it. Now, I went to Essence Fest for the first time a couple of years ago. I think it was like Nicki Minaj, New Edition, and Janet Jackson were the headliners. It was absolutely incredible. It was a celebration of Black Americanness. There were Black people in and up and through it. It was a pure celebration of Black American culture and Black American heritage. But now that it's been co-opted by a bunch of Africans, it seems that nobody cares because they don't set culture for this world. We do. And until Essence Fest gets back to the Black Americans who created it and founded it and lead the culture, it will continue to fail with those Africans in charge.
Lord knows I don't like Rob Smith. I think he's been cooning it up ever since he's gotten his subscribers up. But I have to give credit where credit is due, and even a broken clock gets the right time once. And Rob Smith is correct, it seems, when it comes to Essence Fest. Good evening, everyone. Our topic tonight is Essence Schlep. And hold on one second. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Someone's calling. So I'm sorry. Where was I? We're talking about Essence Fest. I called it Essence Schlep in 2025, and yes, a lot of people have been commenting on Essence Fest and what's happened. For those of you who I'm sure you've seen already the comments that have been on X, what took place this past weekend on the 4th of July weekend. You know, Essence Fest is huge here in New Orleans. We rely on it uh, for, especially in New Orleans. It's basically a large cookout. And I just want to share something with y'all. So this is the lineup. I did a video, a group chat on X last week. So I want to show everybody lineup for Essence Fest. A couple of things in 1995 when Essence Fest started. So ever since 1995, that's when Essence Fest started, and basically it's a cookout. That's what it's known as, the cookout. Everybody would come down to Essence Fest because you had artists like this. I want to show everybody the lineup. Now, it was big. It was a big thing, and over the years it grew and grew, and does have an economic impact for the city of New Orleans. You've make over 363. It's made like as of recently, it brings about $363 million into the city. But as you know, things have changed from the 90s. Now, you look at this. I want to show everybody. This is the lineup that we had here. I'm sorry, this thing is giving me problems. Having a few technical difficulties. Excuse me. All right. I am having an issue. I'm sorry. I'm here talking to y'all. I'm having an issue. But y'all can see on the screen, I keep getting these messages. So y'all just look there. So this was the first annual Essence Fest lineup that they had. And you just look at the artists that you see here. So you see Aaliyah, you see in that lineup Aretha Franklin, BB King. You can't hear because I got removed. Uh, Spirit of Justice. How we doing? I got removed from that. So I am back, and I'm sorry about that. A little technical difficulty. I just saw something. So as I'm off here and we're talking, I just saw that looks like someone's tweeted because Taj Jackson, who's a friend of the show. Taj is the son of the late Tito Jackson, legendary uh, Jackson Five. And I'm looking on X, and they're saying that Michael Jackson's estate is being sued by the Casio family. This is the same Casio family that, oh man, this is the same Casio family that had a close friendship with Michael, like in the 80s and 90s. And one of them was a defendant saying Michael never touched them. And now they're saying He's trying to, and he was a manager for Michael Jackson. Even wrote a memoir in his honor in 2011, and they're saying he's behind an extortion scheme. I'm so sick of these people. I can't even stomach talking about this shit. We're talking about Essence Fest, but I just saw this on X while I'm looking on my live stream to see what's going on, and I saw this crap, man. I've anytime these people come forward, this is why I don't favor why a lot of victims won't be believed, because you got people like this promoting this crap, that's pushing this bullshit, man. Ugh. Here, this man's been dead for almost 15 years, and we're talking about this. Okay, let me go ahead and talk about Essence Fest. We're gonna have to do this another time, but this is, yeah, the family. I wish the family. I don't know. They have been saying something, but they got to go all in. They got to go all in with this stuff. But let's get back to what my. I got to get back and talk about Essence Fest. Cause so I didn't go to Essence this year. Actually went last year, and I already noticed the difference. But what I was stating, essentially, like the Essence Fest lineup you had. So there have been changes, of course, and you're talking about when this started in 1995. The artists that were there, unfortunately, most if not all of them, and you look at this, well, just look at these names. Only two are alive when you put this in. So the 95 Essence Fest, you're talking about Luther Vandross, Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, B.B. King. Good. He should be charged with extortion. B.B. King, Aaliyah. We know all of them are deceased except Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle. And Patti, they're both in their 80s. Uh, and it was done to celebrate the magazine's 25th anniversary. And it was held in the Louisiana Superdome for 3 nights. Of course, you're going to hold it in the Superdome, which is the largest indoor facility in the United States at that time. The Superdome hosted all of the Super Bowls. You know, the Super Bowl was going to be the next year. But you have legends like that, the OJs. Just look at the. So this was the lineup cover that you had here. So these are artists that Earth, Wind, and Fire. There's more. Of course, Frankie Beverly and Mays and Gerald Albright, Mary J. Blige, Boys to Men, Barry White. Of course, you don't have that anymore. And so now, now what we have, of course, the level, and so the level of talent has decreased. The level of talent that they have, and it's no offense to anybody who's an artist now, but let's be real, the artists that we have today in comparison to the likes of the people I mentioned, and keep in mind, over the years, even that other lineup they've had, when they had Prince, I remember and Niles Rodgers. I actually went to uh, that Essence Fest the year before, almost a year before Prince died in 2016. I went in 2014 just to go to that, and that was like my second time at Essence Fest. So I used to go to Essence a couple of times. The first time I ever went was in 2008 when Rihanna, I think Jill Scott, and Kanye West got on, and Kanye West came on like an hour and a half or 2 hours late. But I enjoyed it because it was Kanye West, and they don't make that anymore. But yeah, that lineup has changed, and so the lineups change. Then you have the changing of the guard with the ownership also at that time was different. Of course, Essence was not. in the 90s was still black owned. Um, Essence Fest, Essence was created, a lot of people forget this, but it was actually created by a group of black men once to celebrate, one of the owners to celebrate their mother. The guys who created Essence, uh, I've talked about them. And one of the guys who created Essence Fest, of course, is owned by uh, Essence Communications, is now owned by, or Essence Ventures is now owned by the guy Reginald Dennis, who is, I'm going to get into that in a minute, but he's the guy that has the Shea Butter company. Ricky Lou Dennis in 2018, he owns Sundial Brands. Then you had, at one time, Time Magazine owned it, and Essence was ran by whites. So Edward Lewis, Clarence Smith, Cecil Hollingsworth, and Jonathan Blount were the ones who created Essence Communications. And at one time, it was Gordon Parks who was the editorial director during the first 3 years of circulation. So it was a lifestyle magazine directed at upscale African American women. That's why it was created. And believe it or not, Bill Cosby and Camille Cosby, shout out to her, they had a hand in that too, from my understanding. From what I've talked to uh, when I've spoken with brother Andrew Wyatt, he and I have talked about that. Yeah, so a lot of stuff happened getting to the 2025 Essence Fest. There were issues. So how we're here from 1995 to now, 30 years later, and in New Orleans, there were a lot of issues with Essence this year. And one of the things they did, and one of the biggest problems I've noticed in recent years, and why a lot of people haven't, why the crowd was down, it was actually dead. When you looked at the convention center, there weren't that many people in the crowds there walking in. There were some vendors who were not allowed. One of the things, and I talked about this last year, that Essence Fest did that screwed up, is that they tried to protect their brand and trademark, which is their right. However, they left a lot of black businesses and owners out of their area. They create these buffer zones. The city council does that, and part to appease Essence every year. And they create these buffer zones to make sure people who are doing things with Essence and so forth don't get a piece of the action, and protecting the Essence trademark. So a lot of vendors were cut out of the Essence Fest this year, which upset a lot of people. Then you also had the lineups which weren't popping, and they always say, it was because they didn't have someone like a Janet Jackson or Drake, but really, in honesty, they announced the lineup at the last minute. Typically, when people are making decisions with the lineup, they will usually wait. They usually announce who the artists are coming, like, let's just say 2 months before, like in May. But if I'm planning to come down to New Orleans and I want to know who the artists are who's performing, they don't really do that. They haven't indicated who's going to be on which night. And they waited until the very week of to do so, which for some people was actually too little too late to do. And not to mention, also at the Superdome, for the first night was pretty empty. Let me just show you. Let me show y'all. So someone put up a video of how empty it was at Essence Fest. Lauryn Hill didn't even come on until it was after 2:00. Now, in fairness, it wasn't. Lauryn Hill has been known to come on late, but it was not her fault. I have to give credit where credit is due. And Lauryn Hill even addressed it. This is 7:44. I don't want to get that copyright strike, but this is at 7:44. Now, they were also late in starting and opening the doors, because I heard it was supposed to open at 6, right? The doors weren't open until about 6:25, 6:30. So here's another video.
Where is Lauren.
This is at
Oh my
2:36 in the
God,
morning.
bro.
Look how empty it is. Now,
Fuck that.
Babyface and Maxwell performed that night. Babyface and Maxwell performed that night. As Babyface even came out and said he was tired. I think Maxwell did like a 45-minute set after Babyface. So that's the lineup that happened. Now, and that's brother Dwan B tweeted something. He did a breakdown a couple of years ago. I even called in on the show about Essence because I broke down why it started to just decline. I noticed the decline with the artists. It's really just changed, and I think it goes both to the music landscape that is bad today that we have.
Can you take the trash out?
Someone got Igor up there. Yeah, the acts ran late. They were having
scheduled time
now.
and performed to a nearly empty Superdome. But here's what really happened. Earlier acts ran late, organizers took the L, and Lauren shut down negativity, saying the delay was not on her. She thanked true fans, brought her sons on stage, and still delivered legendary. Put some respect on her name. Essence.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna go to the Lauryn Hill concert. She's still gonna come late. I gotta, but no, I can't blame her for that. I can't blame her for what happened with this one. But then you had, so one of the big things though too, you had this message, the stuff that screwed up with the super lounges because Essence is known for the super lounges that they would have, and you could go in if you didn't want to go into the main concert. Well, they screwed that up, and there were changes to it. So when that happened, the super lounge looked different. There was some confusion. So there was a new version with those. And you had to pay for that, of course. And you had to purchase VIP tickets to do that, which was different from the typical super lounge that you had. Now, I hate when these newspaper ads pop up. Because there was a new format that they had. I'm sorry. So you had to have the VIP ticket holders, which was an expensive premium level. And it was only one super lounge stage. So you had to pay tickets, but you had to buy a VVIP ticket. And that was one problem that they had, according to the news article from the Times-Picayune. I got a version where I don't have to log in and pay for it on NOLA.com. They just copied and pasted everything here. And that had people like they had Stephanie Mills, Alex Isley, Leon Thomas, Ari Lennox, and so forth there. And our sister Stephanie Mills wrote an open letter to Essence. So Essence, as I stated, has undergone a lot of changes, and a lot of people clacked back. Of course, I'm going to discuss one of the main final things about this FBA versus African thing that's going on, because they started to push that agenda. And keep in mind, New Orleans is a black city, so They had a Jolov versus Jambalaya contest, which was I couldn't believe they were doing that, but that was not even the biggest problem. So hold up. Actually, so Stephanie Mills, this is her. This is Stephanie Mills. So she wrote this open letter about the Essence Fest and what she felt. She said, "Dear Essence Festival organizers, I'm writing to share my feedback following my performance at this year's Essence Festival. While I remain grateful for the opportunity to have participated, my overall experience was unfortunately marred by significant production issues that negatively impacted both my performance and the artist experience as a whole. The challenges I encountered were multifaceted and, in my view, indicative of broader organizational shortcomings. The scheduling and time management were severely lacking, creating a chaotic. I'm sorry, creating a chaotic and stressful environment backstage. This disorganization cascaded onto the stage, impacting the flow of the event and ultimately diminishing the quality of the performances. Beyond the logistical issues, the technical difficulties, specifically concerning the sound system, proved deeply problematic. These issues were not isolated incidents, but rather persistent problems that severely hampered my ability to deliver my performance to the best of my ability. And I understand I wasn't alone in experiencing these problems. This lack of technical preparedness is unacceptable for an event of Essence Festival's caliber and prestige. These operational deficiencies ultimately distracted not only from the artist's performance, but more importantly, from the audience experience. And excitement were repeatedly disrupted, creating a less than ideal atmosphere for attendees. The overall level of professionalism I witnessed fell far short of the standards I expect from such a highly regarded festival. I believe a comprehensive review of organizational structure and operational management is necessary to ensure that future Essence festivals run smoothly and meet the high standards associated with the brand. I sincerely hope that my feedback will be taken seriously and utilized to address these significant concerns, ensuring a vastly improved experience for both artists and attendees in the years to come. Respectfully, Stephanie Mills. Yeah, so Stephanie Mills gets it. Stephanie Mills is a professional. She's been doing this for over 5 decades as a little girl, on Broadway. So she saw all of this. And she knows professionalism, how you have to be when you're dealing with an audience. You want to make the experience perfect for the crowd because, if the Essence Fest, of course, things are not always going to be perfect, but you want to make sure, of course, things are done from a professional standpoint where the audience will be coming back. You're going to have repeat customers. When you have stuff like this that, where these things keep happening over and over again. So it wasn't one isolated incident. When you had time delays, when you have artists coming on after 2 o'clock in the morning. In fact, it even happened Sunday night because my understanding, Boys to Men didn't get off the stage Sunday until 3:30. Like, we got work in the morning, motherfucker. You got work in the morning. Y'all gonna wait up and see Boys to Men at 3? They get off the stage at 3:30. So that was another thing. Lauren Hill wasn't alone. Yeah, they got up late. Yeah, so Essence Fest had a lot of issues, and of course, you know, white America is watching this. They're seeing this and wondering, well, what's the purpose? Why do we have this here? Of course, Essence, I think they're talking about trying to survive it and moving it to another city. If it went to another city, y'all know it wouldn't even be fun. Essence wouldn't even last long if they decided to do that. Essence, you move this out of New Orleans, it's going to be a completely different thing. They did it once with Houston, and that was because of Hurricane Katrina, and it wasn't the same. They ain't never been back. There's obvious a reason why that is. So this was the lineup, that they had in 2025. And they did an abbreviated lineup because this is probably just maybe one night I'm looking at. Yeah. The Isley Brothers went on Friday night. I heard they did their thing. Ron Isley is he's a professional. But they had Glorilla, that's Friday night as well. And then you had Master P Sunday. I heard Master P was tired after the first minute. They said Master P didn't even perform. And this is supposed to be his final concert. But one of the worst things they did was Jolov versus Jambalaya at Essence. And people weren't here for it. People were not having it. And it was all, hold up, I gotta pull it up from X. I don't know how, because I'm not gonna show a 25-minute video. But this man ranted about this for 3 minutes. Hold on, I gotta play for this. This was funny. So yeah, I listened to this. This guy was funny. Hold on.
I know why. People gonna say, well, oh, they messed up the Essence Festival. How did y'all mess up the Essence Festival? I know why. I know why. People gonna say, well, because of Target and DI. No. It's the African and Caribbean. You trying to bring African and Caribbean into Black American culture. Then you have it in New Orleans, right? Think about it. These people was trying to sell Jollof versus they were trying to have a face-off with Jollof versus Jambalaya. Come on, man. Come on. How you gonna disrespect New Orleans like that, bringing Jollof there? You get what I'm saying? Now, I don't know about y'all Black people, but my grandma and granddaddy never cooked no goddamn on Jollof. They never cooked Jollof before. I ain't bullshit. They never cooked it. Now, Jambalaya, yes. And another thing people are saying, well, people don't have the money. Black Americans got money. You hear me? Don't let these folks lie to y'all think we ain't got no money to go there. Black Americans got paper. Are you seeing where Black people traveling to every other weekend? Beyonce concert, even might be used with Afterpay, but they still going. The reason why, once again, I made this on another video is because Africans and Caribbeans trying to force their culture on Black Americans. That's not our style. That's just not us. They should have their own thing. Then the sad part about it, a Black American woman ain't running it no more. Soon as those Africans got their hands on the Essence magazine or the festival, whatever, everything went downhill. Vendors can't do nothing. The locals can't do nothing because everybody want to put the Africans in there want to put their hands in the Black American pockets out there in New Orleans. Come on, man. It ain't the same no more. Just like I said in the other video, anything Africans and Caribbeans get into that's Black American always fail. Look, like I said in the video, look at our movies. Look at the movies. Just watch some of these movies. A lot of these people ain't Black Americans. They just not. And it don't hit the same. TV shows don't hit the same.
Yeah.
It just don't.
He's a great actor.
I'm sorry, it just don't. It's not working. And I hope corporate media, people that invest in saying they wasting their money on these people. Black Americans, man, we just a different type of breed, and you can't mix that with us. You can't do that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Let me go back to S right quick. I'm gonna end right here. I know people that listen to Afro beats. I get it. I know people that listen to reggae music. I understand it. But majority of people don't listen to that.
Right.
They just don't.
Right.
So it's not because black I didn't even know Target was even having black folk don't care about Target. I still shop at Target. Just be real. It's because people are bridging cultures together that just don't mesh well with Black American culture, and
All right.
especially the disrespect to New Orleans culture out
Right.
there. Trying to
Right.
give
Right.
people Joe Law. Nobody want no Joe Law. Come on.
You asked, is New Orleans typically Caribbean? No. New Orleans has, so this is New Orleans. New Orleans is, yeah, they often say is a gumbo, is a melting pot, which, yes, to an extent it is. It is a big melting pot with people in there and so forth, people of different backgrounds. But, we go back, especially to the time when the first slaves were brought over here in New Orleans, of course. You had, especially when they could congregate at Congo Square. Uh, we have deep roots with we are a black community. Uh, you know, Caribbean, when you're talking about the Caribbeans, no, it's not necessarily. That's not the case. You said you my favorite Caribbean. You trying to upset me, Spirit? It's not gonna work. I did not go to Essence Fest. You're not gonna work, Spirit. You're not funny. All right. Why don't you go in the mountains? Go in the mountains, go milk some goats. No, New Orleans. No, right. That's correct, DeAndre. It's not. Yeah, there was a Joe Law versus Jambalaya. I didn't go to Essence. That's the point. I didn't go because I just wasn't appeased with the festival. And that is the CEO of Essence magazine right there. That's her wife and kids. Raheem Shabazz posted this. And there's a video of the CEO of Essence, brother Nas, not Nas the rapper, even though Nas the rapper was at Essence Fest. That's the CEO of that. Yeah, she's the CEO of Essence. Caroline Wanga. So let me see if I can find. Hold up. Someone says she has a husband, not a wife. That's her. That's the person I saw in the video that was going viral where she was talking about FBA versus Essence. Hold up. Yeah, that's a. Now she might have been. Maybe she was married. Now maybe she was, I believe she was married to a man before that, but and that's not even the part bothering me. So I'm seeing different things. I looked at the picture. That's obviously her. Who this woman is? She was ahead with Target at one point. Yeah, and Target, I believe she had something to do with Target with the DEI program, if I'm not with their not D I say DEI, excuse me. Target's getting blasted for removing their DEI programs and how they treated black businesses. In fact, there was a boycott of it, but I believe she was part of their, if I'm not mistaken, with Target's creative team or diversity and inclusion. So I'm trying to find that video. Everybody that got the video of the so hold up, we can find it here. I'm gonna find it because someone tweeted, yeah. It's like a 3-minute clip. If anybody that got the video, I'm trying to find it. Um so this is the clip here. Here it is.
But you can't walk. The last one is world. What does that mean? It means something really simple that is a pet peeve of mine, but I'm gonna put on the table and then we're gonna shut up. All this BS about African versus US black versus Caribbean black versus Canadian black versus Antarctica black. I don't have facts to prove that. We everywhere. Arctic black. If you allow that narrative to exist within you, you're participating in dismantling who we're supposed to be in this world, y'all. Rich and I are no less dedicated to the black community in the US than we are to the black community in Africa and in the Caribbean and in Europe. And the fact that our descent is African and your descent might be different does not mean that we can't represent all. And we're not fighting for all. And we keep letting this narrative exist in the world. I told y'all this is me. If you were calling me, this is how it would come out, y'all. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm triggered on that in a second. Anybody can believe what they want to believe. What I need the world part of this to do is to proactively dismantle the part of that conversation that is about, if you ain't a black, I certify you don't deserve to help make black better. Because the amount
This is the CEO of Essence Magazine, ladies and gentlemen. That's the CEO. Now, I don't care, about her personal life per se. That's supposedly who she was. That picture, I mean, up they said picture's worth 1,000 words. Someone says she was married to a husband, had a man. Uh, I'm not quite sure. Whatever it is, whatever it is. Although I can say this, I noticed when I looked up, if you just do a Google on Essence magazine and they do a search, you'll notice what comes up, what nominations Essence has gotten. If you look right here, hold on. Let me put my music back on. Yeah, she had kids with. I don't know if that would be biologically possible to have kids with another woman and you're a woman, but yeah, that's what this is. So this is what comes up when you Google Essence. Look what happens. Notice what's in the corner. Can y'all see that? So Essence is an American monthly lifestyle magazine covering fashion, beauty, entertainment, and culture. First published in 1970. It's magazines written for African American women. What's the nomination? Glad Media for outstanding magazine overall coverage. That speaks volumes. I'm not. I mean, it's what it is. And look, and this is not an attack on a woman per se, but the management of Essence Fest obviously they're not doing a great job. What's happening? I can see, of course, Essence Fest is supposed to be this big, like, cookout, and it has changed drastically. Just like they talked about, how family reunions, they supposedly have declined in recent years because they say grandma and grandpa are no longer around, which I might call BS on some of that. But I'll say this: times do change, especially when there is some truth to that, where when the elder generation is no longer around, the one that keeps things together, sometimes families will drift apart. I don't doubt that. But what do y'all think of this decline with Essence Fest? I can tell you, especially as someone who has been to Essence Fest, I've been to the seminars. I remember as a teenager how those seminars used to be packed. I actually saw Michael Eric Dyson and Magic Johnson at these seminars, and that lady speaking, this is someone, and she's from Kenya, if I'm not mistaken. She's proven the point. This is something that they keep forgetting. This was a Black American event. I have no problem with people from other other Africans and so forth that come to our festivals. Of course, we want people to, everyone to enjoy the festival. We know that. But we have to keep in mind that this is an African American, Black American, foundational Black American, let me say this correctly, event. It was created to highlight Black Americans, like the artists that we showed, not this Pan-African festival. That's not what it is. If you want to do that, create your own, but don't put Essence's name attached to it and call it 30th annual. And I think the Miss Wagner, as well as Rich Lou Deadlou, he's the brother that owns Essence Ventures, is a part of that. And they probably want to show things from their perspective. Obviously, when you own something, you want to show something that you had obviously tied to your experiences if you're trying to do that. But you got to realize, wait a minute, your base is not the people over in Nigeria and Kenya. Your base is right here in New Orleans. Your base is in Atlanta, Georgia. Your base is Houston, New York, Los Angeles, Detroit, the Black Arab communities in those neighborhoods, Washington, D.C. That's who comes down for Essence. And if they keep this up and don't make the changes that are necessary, and I doubt if they will, if you look at the tweets, because they're saying they put on Instagram how big a success it was, and it was not as big as it once was, ladies and gentlemen. And Essence, I feel, may not be here much longer if they keep it up, and they better take a good look and get some new people in there some people who know what they're doing to change those things. But anyway, guys, this is it for me. This has been another exciting edition of Random Topic Thursdays, talking about Essence Fest. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, that's her. And this is an article someone wrote, courtesy of Diaspora Messenger, Kenyan Diaspora Caroline Wagner, a successful Black woman in the U.S. So, yeah, she's the Chief Executive Officer of Essence Communications, Inc. This is an article on her. So she's been in charge of Essence Magazine. But notice how the publication that featured the Kenyan Mexican actress Lutia Nyong'o in 2016. Yeah, I guess that is her family. And this is the guy who owns Shea Moisture from Nigeria. From they say Liberia. I thought he was Nigerian. But he owns Sundial Brands. But what say y'all? Yeah, a lot of vendors a lot of vendors weren't invited. Yeah, a lot of people were upset. But Essence Schlep, ladies and gentlemen, this was Schlep. If you know what that means, a Schlep means a tedious journey, difficult. A Schlep is Yiddish for a drag. It was, and that's what that's what's gonna look like. It's gonna be a drag show. But y'all be safe and be blessed, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna get up on out of here. But it's been another great edition. If you like what you like me for my time, pay me for my time. Drop me something in the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. Enjoy the rest of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please subscribe to the X channel, of course, on X or Rumble or YouTube. Peace to you all. I will see you in the next one. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace. I gotta get up out of here for another event, y'all. So y'all be safe, all right? Peace out. Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.